Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Yormos1, and today I want to talk about classic servers for World of Warcraft. As a lot of you probably know, classic servers got announced at BlizzCon this year. J. Allen Brack came up on stage, he made an awesome ice cream joke. No one really saw where he was going with it at first, but once he said chocolate and then cookies and cream, and the crowd was disappointed, everyone kind of knew where he was going with it. It was a pretty unlikely announcement coming this year. We figured that since they met with the Nostalgia's team, it was probably coming sometime, right? But I think a lot of people are more hyped about it and not thinking about the actual logistics. I don't even think Blizzard understands the actual logistics. They've said they might have a way to do it. But in the past, J. Allen Brack has even said to himself, there's that clip from BlizzCon, I believe it's 2013, that you think you want classic servers, but you really don't.
You don't want that.
And I disagree with that because there is already a thriving classic community on private servers.
Remember when you had to
I'm a fan of classic.
And say, need a tank,
Lots of people are a fan of classic, but there's a lot of unanswered questions. And how are things going to be done? Are things going to be modified, revamped, or are they just going to release it as is? At BlizzCon, they kind of said, well, J. Allen Brack kind of said that he wanted to create a authentic Blizzard-like experience, but not the launch experience. So what does that exactly mean? They're probably going to take out game-breaking bugs. They're probably going to take out errors. That's the kind of stuff you would expect them to do. But how do you pick and choose which stuff to remove, which stuff to keep, and which stuff stays the same, you know? This is a problem that Blizzard themselves probably hasn't figured out completely yet, and that's probably why we haven't heard a lot more about it. If they wanted to release a actual vanilla version of World of Warcraft, they could do it right now. It's already possible. Nostalgia's did it, Light's Hope's done it, Elysium has done it. The server, everything exists already. You can start your own if you'd like. But Blizzard has to go about this in a very special way. They want to create a Blizzard-like experience. So with that, there's a few questions that I don't think enough people are asking, and I'm not exactly sure myself how they're going to deal with. One of those things being, how do you release patch cycles? So the game itself will probably be 1.12.1, which is the last version of vanilla, and the most popular version of vanilla for private servers and stuff like that, just because it's the last patch, all that. Now, instead of patch cycles, it'll be more of a content cycle because the patch is already the last patch, I'm sure, right? So along with that, you know, in vanilla they released patch cycles which change classes, stuff like that. So do they change all these classes again through the patch cycles, or do they leave them the same? How do you deal with that, you know? Another question it has is, does the server get the patch cycle once and then that's it? Like, do they go through Blackwing Lair? Do they release AQ, then Nax, and then they just sit on the final patch of Classic WoW forever, for the rest of time? I don't know. If you've seen maybe the Allcraft live panel at BlizzCon, Asmongold, I'm sure a lot of you know him, actually made a really good point. And he said basically that they should kind of do it like a Diablo-styled season, where you level through vanilla, you complete all the patch, and then maybe Burning Crusade comes out, and your character progresses onto Burning Crusade, and then a new vanilla server starts, which is a new season. But the problem with that is that what happens to the people that want to play Classic WoW forever? They're now forced to move into Burning Crusade, and that's a problem because they're not going to want to do that. There's going to be forum complaints, stuff like that, right? Blizzard hasn't even announced if they want to move this into Burning Crusade or further expansions. Another problem with that is, well, if you start moving into more expansions, what happens when you get to Kata or Mop? No one wants to play those ones again, right? Everyone wants to play maybe Classic, Burning Crusade, and then Wrath of the Lich King, but I don't think anyone's going to want to progress into Kata or Mop or even Warlords of Draenor, you know? No one's going to want to do that, so what happens to the servers once you get there? You can't really do anything with them, right? Because no one's going to want to play, and if all their character data has already gone past, let's say, Wrath of the Lich King, then you can't go back. So what happens then? questions that still have to be answered, you know? I thought about is, what happens to everyone that disagrees with Blizzard? So let's say Blizzard comes in and they say, we're going to revamp vanilla World of Warcraft with new character models and stuff like that. And people say, no, we don't want that. We want the original classic experience as we remember it 13 years ago. Well, what happens to those people? Do they go back and create another Nostalrius and we have this problem all over again? It's kind of likely, you know? Those are the questions that really need to be answered. I'm just one person, right? I'm just one person thinking of all these questions to myself, and it's making my head spin already. Imagine an entire development team thinking about these questions and solving their technical issues too. I'm sure there's a lot of technical issues. One thing that I thought that they should maybe do for progression-wise is, if they started at vanilla, they could maybe create a Burning Crusade server and give people the option to transfer their vanilla character to the Burning Crusade, or they could just stay at vanilla. But again, that wouldn't solve the problem of content patches and the vanilla server staying at Nax forever, right? The server would still stay at Nax forever, and people that wanted to experience vanilla again, let's say, won't have that option because it'll already be at Nax. So it's a really tough question that Blizzard has to answer and has to come up with an answer for. Who knows, maybe they'll start the servers and Blackwing Lair, ZG, AQ, and Nax will be available from the start, and all you have to do is get a group of 40 people together and go raid them. Highly unlikely they're going to do it that way, I think, because they want to keep the authentic experience of getting content and, you know, stuff like that, but who knows? These are questions that really need to be answered by the community, the development team. It's going to be a tough one for Blizzard. These are really the tough questions that I'm sure the reason we didn't find out more information this BlizzCon is because they haven't actually answered these themselves. Another question is, how do you deal with special events, legendaries, stuff like that? The Gates of AQ. Are we going to have another AQ war effort? That would be awesome. I love the Gates of AQ. This time we'll maybe have a less crashy and less laggy experience with the Gates of AQ, so everybody can actually experience them in a fun gameplay oriented way. That would be awesome, because back then, you know, you're running CRT monitors and a computer from the 2000s. Well, you get like 3 FPS in the game, right? So you can't really play it. Another question is mechanics, and vanilla was very easy mechanically, I think. A lot of the problems was that you couldn't really find 40 people that were gonna get together every day or whatever, every raid day, and all not clash with each other in terms of loot, personalities, stuff like that, right? That was a lot of the challenge of raiding in vanilla. It wasn't mechanics. Mechanics were easy, you know, taunt, do this, move here. What's the boss in Nax? Thaddeus, where you have a plus or a minus and you have to move. It's not that hard compared to what we have now. Now the mechanics are freaking hard. We also live in like a completely different gaming world where in 2004, when you wanted to find something out, you had to go search on Thoughtbot. That's not how it works anymore. Now when people want to go figure something out, they're going to go to YouTube. There's going to be YouTube personalities that are going to walk you through the raids, that are going to walk you through the dungeons, that are going to walk you through quests, stuff like that. So maybe the experience is not going to feel as good as it did back in the day. Anyways, guys, that's just a few of my thoughts. I have a lot more. Maybe I'll do another video or something, but those are just a few of my thoughts and where my head's at really with the classic servers and stuff like that. I'm really excited for them, don't get me wrong. I think that it's going to be an awesome opportunity for people that didn't get to play vanilla, and it's going to be an awesome opportunity for people that did play vanilla to come back and maybe get their friends that played vanilla with them back and, you know, enjoy the game again. But those are just my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, maybe share. Comment down below if you have any questions of yourself that have to be answered, and hopefully I can participate in that conversation as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.